Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Now Showing with
John?
and Cam. And on today's episode, we're going to do our first ever movie review. Now, on this channel, we're not just going to do reviews of movies that are blockbuster hits that are currently in theaters. We may also do reviews of movies that are from the 70s, 80s, 90s. It doesn't matter. What does matter is what you guys want to see. So what we'd like is anytime you guys would like to see us review a movie, leave it in the comments because we may talk about it for you and dedicate an episode to it. And that brings us to today's episode. Today we're going to review the 2008 horror movie The Strangers. And reason being, one of our first comments we got on the channel was from a gentleman whose YouTube name, Tanner Cupari, who we happen to know, left us this comment. Little teacup. He left us this comment. Out of all my favorite horror movies, my all-time favorite is The Strangers, and I would love to see you guys review this movie. Well, Tanner, here's a treat. We're going to review it for you right now because we personally enjoy this movie as well. And before we get started reviewing it, like I said, Tanner, thank you for the comment. We actually know Tanner. We wanted to let you guys know about his business that he has because I have actually used his business called North Arrow Photography before, and they are phenomenal. So if you guys need any wedding photos done, engagement photos, any type of branding, even in the retail market, North Arrow Photo is the place to go. If you're in the Pittsburgh area or even in the branching states, they will do destination weddings as well. Definitely look them up. That's North Arrow Photo. You can go on their website, northarrowphoto.com, or you could also go on their YouTube site, Instagram, and Facebook at North Arrow Photo. They are a couple, Tanner and his girlfriend, that travel and do phenomenal work, guys. So if you need any type of professional photography, please check them out, and we will have all of their information, their website, in the description for this video, so don't hesitate. If you need any photos taken, they've done some work for us, and they are awesome, guys. But Tanner, let's give you a little treat here. We're going to talk about The Strangers for you today, 2008. So, quick premise for anyone who's never seen The Strangers. Yeah. The Strangers is a film about a couple that is returning home from a wedding. They're returning to a country home that the boyfriend had set up for a great night to celebrate because he just so happened to propose on this night to his girlfriend. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned and she was not ready to accept. So this wonderful night at the country home he had planned with champagne and roses, it all kind of goes to shit. So while they're there kind of depressed, things get even worse when they get a knock at the door from some strange woman who asks them if someone named Tamra is there. And there's no one here by that name. So she leaves. They think, okay, maybe that was someone drunk. Well, guess what? She comes back and knocks again, which really freaks them out. Things seem to be okay for the time being. The boyfriend leaves to go pick something up, and while he's gone, things start to take an even turn from the worse. And without getting too far into the premise, you start to find out that there are three invaders, as creepy as can be, that are stalking this couple, and you'd have to tune in to the end to find out what's the reason why. And of course, things keep elevating throughout the night, and it becomes a cat and mouse chase and a battle for survival, and it's a very intense movie. So the way we're going to do our reviews, guys, we're going to give our overall thoughts of the film, just our initial thoughts upon first seeing it. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the acting performances, the score, which would be the music, and the scares, and then at the end of the video we'll give you our final score out of 10. So we're going to start with overall thoughts, initial thoughts, and I'm going to turn it over to John.
All right. Yeah, I definitely love The Strangers. And once again, Tanner, thank you for submitting this. But honestly, I think the Strangers is kind of one of those movies that it doesn't really get as much love as it really should, because it doesn't really rely too much on like jump scares or your traditional something running at the screen style jump scares. It does have a little bit of the like use the music to kind of lead you into like something's gonna happen and then boom, jump scare kind. But this is more of an atmospheric creepiness. It builds on that. Also, if you've watched some of our other videos, you know I'm a big fan of realistic movies, and this is one of those. I could honestly, we did our top 5 horror movies. If I was to do my top 20, this one would be a
Yeah,
contender for what it is.
for
Because,
sure.
like I said, I love like a realistic, and I think that's one of the things that this movie does so well. Like you could really like basically watch this movie and be like, shit, this could really happen to me,
Yeah.
and like just for that, and then um, so overall, I really do love this movie. The costume design, I think, is incredible.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have seen like the cases we have in front. You can see some of the masks. I don't believe the cases show the 2 girls. Their masks are just as good as just the simple mask that the one guy does wear. So
Yeah. I mean, overall, just like you said, it's a great film. It's a scary film. It's just total, suspense. And fun fact, if you've watched The Strangers or saw the trailer for The Strangers, they market it as it's, based on true events. Well, if the director of the film actually based the movie or came up with the concept off of something that happened to him when he was a child. When he was a child, he had a knock at his door one night when he was home alone. His parents were away, and when he answered it, there was a strange person at the door that asked him if someone was home. And he said, no, that person doesn't live here, just like in the film. Well, later on, he found out that night that different people on the same block had this same person asking that, and a few of his neighbors actually had their houses robbed that night. So he was lucky he didn't have his house robbed, but some of his neighbors did. So that's why when you see the tagline to this film that it's based on true events, that's actually where those events came from. It was something that happened to the director when he was a child. So just wanted to throw that out there for you guys. But yeah, overall, this film just from the moment things begin to happen, it really never lets up. And
just keeps building.
it's a small film. It's condensed basically in one place. There's not a huge cast in this film. You have Liv Tyler, who plays the main female protagonist, and you have Scott Speedman, who plays the main male protagonist as the couple that are trying to survive. Another fun fact for you, there is a cameo. A friend of the couple shows up at one point in the film because he's there to pick one of them up. And of course, things don't go right. But for those of you who never noticed this, if you're a fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the friend that comes to the house is none other than actor Glenn Howerton himself, who plays Dennis on the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And if you never noticed it was him before and you're a big fan of Sunny, when you watch The Strangers next time and you see the fate of what happens to him, it's probably going to impact you a lot more because you're not used to seeing him in this type of role or that type of capacity. But yeah, I mean, The Strangers is just literally creepy from start to finish. And one other thing I'd like to throw out before we get into the acting, just a quick story. The last time I watched The Strangers was the night before the sequel, The Strangers Prey at Night, came out. My wife and I were watching, and it was late at night. It was, well, not too late, but it was like 10:30 at night, something around there. And when the scene happened where there was the bang at the door, no joke, someone knocked at our door at that exact moment to where it like blended in with the movie. But then another knock happened, and I just remember, I don't really get scared when I'm watching horror movies, but I was freaked out. My wife's going insane, and I look at our front door, which has sort of like a curtain over the front, but I could see someone, a figure standing through it, and I'm like, this can't be happening. So I slowly go to the door, and I'm trying to peek, I'm like really like, ugh. And luckily it ended up being my brother, but I'm like, you son of a bitch, what are you doing here at 10:30 at night? And I can't remember the reason why he was stopping up, but when I told him, he literally knocked on the door at the time that it happened in the movie. He started laughing because he obviously didn't plan that. But yeah, that was just a funny story the last time I watched The Strangers. But let's get into the acting. So John, what do you rate the overall acting performances? Do you think there's a standout overall, good performances, bad performances?
I really wouldn't say there's like any of them stood out.
Yeah.
But I don't really think any of them were bad. I mean, it was a solid performance for what the movie is. Do I think it's like an Oscar worthy like acting? No. but overall, I would give it 7, 8 out of 10. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it
Strong
didn't take anything. So I mean, it was like
yeah, strong performances. You will care about these characters, which is always important in a movie, right? If you don't care about the people you're watching on screen, then who cares whether they live or die? You will feel for this couple as you watch it. Obviously, these are known actors and actresses, so you will care about them and what happens to them. And I think overall, their mood from when the movie starts and what the position we see them in and the shitty situation to the dread that they face and the overall agony. I mean, by the time you get to the end of this film,
yeah.
it's a dark film. I mean, it's not. It doesn't pull any punches. And some of you, if you've never saw The Strangers, you may leave this film upset. You may think that the ending was not what you wanted to see. We don't really want to spoil much on this, but I mean, the ending goes to a dark place, and I think a lot of people also appreciated it because I think the ending in that case made it a lot scarier. But not to get too off topic, we can maybe talk about that in our final thoughts. But the acting overall, I agree, really good job. It's not going to blow you away, but it's not. There aren't any bad performances, which in a horror movie can be make or break.
Yeah.
All right, so next let's talk about the score. How did you feel about the sound in this movie overall?
It's been a while since I've seen it, but
Yeah.
remembering back to whenever the last time I did see it, I felt they did a really good job with the score. Like I said, they use some of the music to basically set the tone for a lot of the scares, a lot of like building the suspense, what's to come, that sort of thing. So overall, I think they did a really good job with the score. I'd honestly put that closer to probably like a 9 for like the overall. Like it was a solid musical score for that movie.
There's a song that plays throughout the film. I had to look it up because I couldn't remember what it is. It's from a singer, I believe, Merle Haggard, 1968, and it's called "Mama Tried," and it's played on the record in the movie. And my God, is that song
on the record
effective? When this song plays, and a lot of times it skips. Man, it's scary and it works well. And then there also isn't a major score to this movie because a lot of the times they do things in complete silence, which sometimes makes a horror movie even more effective. But the sights and sounds of them being outside the house, you can hear them walking around, doors opening and closing. They do a very effective job with the score here. All right, so next let's talk about the scare factor. Where do you think this holds in terms of scares, intensity? Where do you place it?
Honestly, I would put this. I mean, this movie, it basically builds up, like, and then just grabs you by the throat, throws you to the ground.
Yeah.
So I don't put it in your typical types of scares. It has that creep factor.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's something that could really happen. So honestly, if I was to rank the scares on this, I would give this a solid 10 out of 10. Honestly, just for what it is.
It's
like,
great.
It'll sit with you.
It's great. And another fun fact: actor Kurt Russell actually said he finds this to be one of the scariest horror films he's ever seen. So thought that was a pretty cool fact.
It is.
Also, this film was shot in chronological order, which most movies aren't, because the director really had it in mind how he wanted to do it, because he also wrote the film as well. So he shot it all in chronological order, which can make for an effective movie as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, from the moment things start happening, like I said earlier, it doesn't let up. And one scene that always jumps out to me in particular is the point in which the boyfriend leaves to go grab something. I think he's running to the gas station or something like that to pick something up for her. There's a moment where she's just standing in the kitchen, she's smoking a cigarette, and she's just kind of, putting her hand on the table and whatnot. And at this point, you still really don't know what's going on because you've only had the knock at the doors. And in the background, out of the dark, the male character from the 3 Psychopaths, who wears like the burlap sack over his face with the smiley face painted on it, which is just terrifying to see on screen, comes walking out. And it is in that moment you know that they are screwed and that these people are already in the house. And it is like your heart, when you saw it, I remember seeing it in theaters like, oh my God. And it's not like he comes right up and kills her. He just backs off.
Yep.
I'm just letting you know I'm here, and it's just so many moments like that. I really can't think of any cheap jump scares in this movie. It's
No,
just
not
all
so
done
much.
so well. It's done in such an effective way that you never know what's going to happen. And like we said, when you get to the ending, your jaw hits the floor because you may think this is going to be your traditional ending, or I hope for this, I hope for that. But man, now the only gripe I sort of have with this movie comes from the ending. And when I say the ending, I literally mean the final second before the credits roll. And the only reason I say that, for those of you who've seen the movie, for those of you who haven't, I'm not going to ruin it, but the only reason I say that is because I sort of like having everything 100% concluded for the most part when I'm done with a movie. And I was okay with certain things not being revealed, but the not exactly knowing the fate of someone is and leaving with I thought the ending was just slightly tacky, because it's hard to say without giving it away, but that was my only gripe. The actual lead up to that ending was fine, but literally the last moment before it goes off the air is a little bit of a jump scarish, and I wasn't too crazy about that. But everything else I absolutely enjoyed from start to finish. The Strangers is a film you need to watch, and honestly, if you've never seen it, watch it in the dark. If you're brave enough, home alone, and if you're not creeped out, you're one brave son of a bitch, because this
Yeah.
movie is enough to creep anyone out, because every sound you hear outside your house afterwards, you're going to wonder where it's coming from. So I think it's time we should give our final score. So like I said, our scores are done out of 10. So where are you ranking it?
Um, I don't know. I was thinking about this earlier because I knew we were gonna do this. And earlier I was kind of thinking I'd give this a solid 8. But the more I think about it and the more I talk about it, I can't give it a 10 out of 10. But I'm gonna give it a solid 9 out of 10. Honestly.
Yeah, I'm very close with you on that. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. I was battling between 8.5 and 9, and I really don't know why I stopped on 8.5. Maybe it's because that little gripe I have with the ending is stopping it from the 9. But yeah, this is. I mean, if you're a horror fan, whether you've been into horror for a long time like us, or you're just starting out, this is a movie that needs to get added to your collection.
Yeah.
Also, for those of you who don't know, there was a sequel that was made right here, The Strangers Pray at Night. I will say the sequel is very good. It's a fun movie, but it doesn't quite hold
No.
up, in my opinion, in
No,
terms
not
of
at
the
all.
scares. Because the first movie, you have no idea who these people are, what's going on, or what their end game is. In the second film, you know who they are, you know what they're trying to do, so it's a little less effective. And I think the biggest thing about the second film for me was, in the first film, these were just regular people doing horrible things. In the second film, I feel like they started to take them a little bit into that Jason, Michael
Yeah.
Myers territory. Where no matter where you hide, where you go, they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna find you, and no matter how many times you set them on fire, stab them, they keep coming back. So the second one I felt like went a little overboard, but it's still a really fun film. But yeah, guys. With that being said, that is our review on The Strangers. Do you have anything left you want to say about it, or pretty good?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say I'm pretty good. I do. I was thinking the same scene. That's what they did really good.
Yeah.
Is just like it's not so much that like he just appears. It's a slow
Yeah.
enter, and then like you think, oh shit, he's gonna like kill her right here. Or he's gonna attack her, and like he said, he just kind of fades back. And they do a lot of that, and like that's what really kind of pushes
Yeah.
like the intensity because it just kind of grows from there. And
Yep.
the way the whole cat and mouse toying, it's not your traditional like, hey, we're here to kill you. It's no, we're here to toy with you,
Yes.
with the most likely the end result being probably gonna die.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
But before we go, guys, just want to show you one thing. If you are indeed a horror movie collector, I cannot recommend enough. If you buy horror movies on Blu-ray, look for the company Scream Factory, because they put out the coolest, most awesome Blu-rays. They take a lot of old films and even newer films They make awesome cases for them, and they put on more special features than you could ever imagine. So just to show you right here, this is the Scream Factory version of the Strangers. You can see this awesome case on the front, and they have a whole ton of loaded special features, and they always have amazing picture quality as well. So if you're looking to get a copy of The Strangers, if you've never seen it or you don't yet own the film, or if you're a collector in general, you got to get the Scream Factory version. It's totally worth it. But yeah, that's it, guys. That is our review of The Strangers. Once again, thank you to Tanner for the comment and asking us to review this. If any of you guys have any movies, TV shows, anything you want us to review, please leave it in the comments, because we certainly will make time for you to try to put it out there, especially, you know, if it's a movie we connect with as well. Please, if you enjoyed this video, leave us a like, subscribe, and be sure to tune in, because we got a lot more content coming along the way. Once again, you've been watching Now Showing with
John
and Cam.